boom, here we go, boys. Getting to tip number one, the biggest thing you need to know in this game. What's going on, Jurrisco gang? Coming at y'all boys with another banger, and today we have another 5 gameplay tips for y'all boys in ESG football. I'm talking about catching, route running, everything in the book. Y'all already know what time it is. Let's get into it. So here we go, boys. I have another 5 tips for y'all boys in ESG football. I told y'all boys I was gonna be making this video to help y'all boys out with route running. If y'all boys don't know, route running is probably one of the hardest things in this game, but it's also the most satisfying things and one of the things that probably separates this game the most from Madden. And we'll be talking about that and more in this video. Also, I did drop my wide receiver build. So if you guys want a good wide receiver that's going to help you out with doing these route runner moves and all type of stuff in this game, make sure you guys check that video out, because that video will help you out a lot when you are making your wide receiver build, so you can do everything that I'm showing y'all boys in this video. Once again, if you've been living under a damn rock, ESG football is now downloadable in the PlayStation Store, so you do not need any code or anything like that to get the game right now. As long as you have a PS5, the game is free. You can download it in the store. And once again, for all my Xbox guys, join my Discord down below, because I will make sure I update y'all boys on when the game does come to Xbox. I promise you, the minute it touches Xbox, you'll get a fat ass alert in my Discord that says ESG football is now on Xbox. So it'll be very, very soon, as this month. So make sure once again you're in the Discord. And for all my PC guys, same for y'all, make sure y'all in Discord. I will make sure I update y'all. And lastly, let me know in the comments below what we need to cover next in terms of like tips or tricks with this game. Is there any like huge problems that boys are dealing with? I also do want to make a video covering like the passing and that type of stuff in this game, so that video will also be coming, and my quarterback build will be coming in the next day or so. I also have a couple gameplays for y'all boys dropping, so make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have that notification bell on, and while you're down there, you might as well like the video too. So boom, here we go, boys. Getting to tip number one, the biggest thing you need to know in this game when you're playing wide receiver is going to be route running, boys. So I'm gonna keep it real. The route run is hard as shit. I'm gonna just keep it 100% real. At first, you know, when you first get into this game, you know, going from Madden and for college football to this game, it's gonna be a night and day difference, damn near a night and day difference. If you guys have played Madden, it is some of the most cookie cutter basic shit when it comes to route running and just how you can, you know, hezzy and all type of stuff off the line of scrimmage, all type of stuff. It's damn near night and day. So when it comes to this game, basically there's 3 kind of like mechanics, kind of like Madden, where, you know, you have your you know, your cutter, you know, how you cut when you do your routes, you know, how you do any like hezzy moves. There is like that whole kind of like process or steps kind of with it, but the way you do it is a lot harder and it just looks a lot better. So number one, when you start with your route, you're going to do basically like a setup move, basically. So when you look at the control, when you go to the controller settings in this game, you will see you have like stutter cuts. So essentially what you're gonna do is when you start your route, basically, or when you're doing your entire route, you're really never gonna press the sprint button, if that makes sense. So if you're doing these routes really good, if you know you're stuttering, you know, you're doing these hard cuts and stuff like that, what you're gonna do is when you do these moves, do not press sprint at all right? When you do any stutter move, when you do any hard cut, do not press the sprint button. Stutter cuts is basically like doing like release moves, basically. It's kind of like your release move off the line. Now, when you do this stutter move, it's gonna be L1, the right stick, and then whichever way you wanna go. So if you wanna do a stutter left, right, you're gonna do L1, the right stick, left, and then right. And once again, make sure you are not holding the sprint button while you're doing this. I'll try to have some examples on the screen while I'm doing it, because I'm telling you right now, I'll be fucking niggas up with this shit. I ain't gonna cap, my boy. So the reason why these stutter cuts are so good is because you can really do your routes by just doing these stutter cuts, by just doing a little hezzy moves off the line and then getting up out of there. It shifts the defender so much because you cover a lot of ground. When you go to something like Madden, when you look at Madden route running, these moves didn't really cover enough ground to really make a difference and really even look good when you do the routes. In this game, they look good and they cover so much damn space that you can really actually like make somebody, you know, break their ankles basically, or really make them go one way when they really should be going the other way. So that's why these stutter cuts are really good. Now, right after that, number 2 is gonna be the hard cuts. Now, the hard cuts is basically saying, like, let's say you're doing a slant, let's say you're doing a post route, and you do that hard cut. That's gonna be basically these hard cuts, and it's gonna give you a nice animation when you do this. Obviously, once again, keep in mind your route running stat is going to depend on how good this looks and how sharp these are. So if you have 60 route running compared to something like 85 or 90, which is basically like the threshold, oh my nigga, it's gonna be a big difference night and day. So make sure you guys keep that in mind. Your route running means a lot when you do these moves. But back to the hard cuts once again. Hard cuts is gonna be R1, right stick, and then whichever way you want to go. So you can go hard cut up, hard cut up left. You go hard cut up right. So you can do so many different things with this. You'll see it in the controller settings if you do look at the controller settings, but I be getting niggas all the time with this. Once again, you could do this also without doing the other things. So you don't have to do the stutter cuts and this. You could do literally just these hard cuts and literally break people up all game long, and they'll be literally like, they can't stop you. So doing these hard cuts are really good also. I would say combining these hard cuts and the stutter cuts are really good. Once again, the best way to do this is essentially when you're doing your routes, every time you're doing your routes, just don't hold the R1 button. Do not hold sprint while you're doing these cuts. Just literally just going up with your left stick, obviously, because you want to move with your left stick, and then either going with R1 to do your hard cuts or doing L1 to do your stutter cuts. It's going to be beautiful. You'll be out there just routing dudes up all day long. For the third component, where route running and ESG is going to be the speed cuts. Speed cuts is obviously going to be the thing that's not as, you know, spiffy or fancy or whatever, but these are going to be more like your more like fast, super fast cuts, but it's not as exaggerated. It's not as sharp, I guess. It's more of like a rounded, kind of like faster cut on the field. I've done these a couple times, but like I said, I don't love these. But once again, you can do it, and this will be when you're holding the sprint button. So obviously going to be R2, going to be the right stick, and then whichever way you do want to go. Once again, this is gonna be more for like if you don't have a lot of route running, or you once again you just want to do it very, very fast, like very fast, like one cut basically, like, and it's not as sharp. You don't really like, you know, cut on the dime really. You kind of just like do like a slight cut. This is gonna be more for that. I don't love to do it, but it is the third component. And then the fourth thing I kind of wanted to get in there. It's not like the biggest thing ever. They do have a pop turn. So the pop turn is essentially when you want to do a basically like a stop and go, essentially. Like let's say, you know, you're doing like a little hitch route. You want to turn around and then go back up the field, so it looks really tough. That's gonna be with the pop turn. The pop turn is gonna be R1 and L1 and R1, and then the right stick down. So how once again you would do this? You would run. Then you would do R1, L1 down on the right stick. So it would turn you around and then just cut back up, you know, by just sprinting back up the field. So doing these all together is gonna be having you out there looking like goddamn Justin Jefferson. My nigga, you'll be out there looking like Reggie Wayne. I mean, bro, you're gonna be out there going crazy. It's Ocho Cinco. Oh, that's gonna be you. So this is gonna be having you out there going crazy. A lot of people are gonna be wondering, you know, why is it this hard? Or people are gonna complain about why the route running is hard. Tell you right now, this needs to be hard in this game. It pays off also. It's very satisfying also when you do pull it off. And once again, from someone coming from Madden, who was literally out there routing dudes up in Madden, it's just a big night and day between like who's good in Madden and who's good in this game. And that's the point with this game. They want this game to be a huge skill gap with the route running and stuff like that. Next up at tip number 2 is gonna be a one that I know a lot of us were wondering about. Is gonna be catching the ball. So a lot of people have been, you know, kind of having trouble with catching the ball, or making sure you always, you know, time it or catch it at the right time, whatever the case is. So catching in this game really quick, it's gonna be 4 buttons. Unlike Madden where it's 3, there's 4 buttons in this game. Basically the same as Madden, but basically there's a extra one for falling down. So if you want to catch the ball and fall down, that's going to be the circle button. And everything else is basically the same as Madden. The possession catch is X, or you know, it's the A button, or what it would be on Xbox. So it's the X button for possession catch. Rack catch is going to be the square button. Then triangle is going to be the spectacular catch or miraculous catch for ESG. So that's going to be basically how you catch the ball in this game. Now, when you are catching the ball, you have to time it. So you cannot do it too late, cannot do it super early before the ball is thrown. My word of advice is for catching the ball, I would say try to do it when it's like halfway to you. So like when the ball's like halfway to you, I would say go ahead and press the button, and then make sure you hold the button. Do not tap. Do not, do not spam it. No, make sure you are holding the button. All right, make sure you hold it every single time. You're gonna tap and then hold. Once again, when it's like halfway to you, the ball floats really well in this game, so you can kind of time it up really well. But like I said, when it's like halfway to you, then I will go ahead and press it, and then like I said, hold it. And also, like everything else in this game, this is also rating dependent. So if you have really good miraculous catch, you're obviously gonna be able to, catch the ball really well with miraculous catches. If you do not have, if you only have like 6 miraculous catch, do not be out there trying to miraculous catch every single pass because you will drop the ball. My also small little tip here, I would say try to X most of your passes, no matter if you have really good catching, very low catching. Always, I would say try to possess and catch a lot of your passes because one, it's gonna give you a really good animation 9 times out of 10, and you're also gonna be able to just be able to catch the ball. If you're trying to rack or you're trying to miraculously catch everything on the field, you're gonna be dropping the ball a lot of times, especially if your stuff isn't like over like 95. I'll get into the next tip, boys. That tip number 3. This is gonna be really for the wide receivers especially, and this is gonna be just running your route. So when you're in this game, when you're playing this game, obviously it's full on 7v7, a lot of users on the field, whoop-de-doo, all that. You're gonna be making sure you need to make sure you are running your route, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times in this game, the communication and just the, quarterback, the wide receiver, communication is gonna be a huge thing. If your quarterback thinks that you're running a slant, or he tells you to run a slant, and you do not run a damn slant, you run a damn post, it's gonna mess things up. He's probably gonna throw a pick. So I'm telling you right now, running your route is gonna be one of the best things you could do in this game. When you're playing wide receiver, when you're trying to get open, when you're trying to get a bunch of yards, when you're trying to get the ball, you have to be running your route, because if you're not, if you're breaking off too early, or you're not running it sharp enough, or you're just not running it good, your quarterback's gonna be throwing picks, and he's gonna be blaming you. So that's gonna be my number tip. My number 3 tip is just gonna be, make sure you run your route, bro. If you have a post route, please run it from sideline to sideline. Do not try to cut it back, or try to break it. No, you need to make sure you run it from sideline to sideline, unless your quarterback says otherwise, because it causes a lot of picks. Also, make sure you're coming back to the ball. So if you're on the hitch route, you do a little pop turn, make sure you come back to the ball. Do not just stand there in one place. Then the DB is allowed to break on the ball and pick it. Make sure you're coming back to the ball. Make sure you're cutting off the DB's like angle from getting off, trying to pick off the ball, because that also helps out your quarterback a lot. Next up, boys, that tip number 4 is gonna be talking about blocking, just like how we did in our last tip video. We're gonna go ahead and talk about blocking again, more for when you're on the outside, and when you're at wide receiver. Once again, to block in this game, it is going to be triangle. So a lot of boys still don't know how to block this game. Yes, it is triangle. And also make sure you are block strafing. So block strafing is L2, and then obviously, like I said, the block intent is going to be triangle. I would say make sure, boys, make sure you are kind of getting in front of the person before you do go ahead and block. So do not just block straight around the field, like just sitting there, just, with your hands up trying to block somebody. No, actually run to the person or try to get to them, so they have to go around you, or, then you are able to block them. Don't just be sitting there just block strafing, and then, you don't even touch anybody. They just run right around you. I would say it's better off you run to the person, get to them, sprint to them, and then get in front of them, rather than just sitting there and block strafing. It's going to make your blocking a lot better, and you open up more lanes for your running back or anybody who's running behind you. And lastly, tip number 5, the last tip I have, y'all boys, it's just gonna be overall positioning in this game. When you are going up for any jump ball, or once again you're trying to go up for an aggressive catch, whatever the case is, and you want to make sure you come down with the ball, or just make sure you have the best positioning. My rule of thumb when it comes to positioning in this game is I always try to make sure that at the last minute, don't do this too early, but as the ball is coming towards me, I try to make sure at the last minute I cut in front of the DB, all right? Don't just, like I said, just let the DB be under the ball, because a lot of times they can cut off their angle to the ball and pick it off. So you always want to try to make sure you kind of get the best angle or the best positioning at the last moment. Don't, do it too early. Try to make sure you do it as the ball is coming towards you. And once again, you cut off the DB so that he cannot, cut you off to the ball. So always make sure you do that. And once again, when you're going up for a jump ball, or you feel like it's a 50-50, always try to make sure you are doing a possession catch. The reason why is because you'll go up with 2 hands, and you have a better chance of catching the ball and kind of like mossing the defender. Rather, if you do a miraculous catch, you'll go up for a one-handed catch, and it's just it's not as good as, you know, you would want to be. So I always try to make sure I go for the possession catches because once again, you get a better like Moss two-handed animation, and a lot of times you'll catch it over the DB. So making sure you're getting that positioning and make sure you're timing everything at the right time is going to be how you Moss people in this game. But all right, boys, that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe for more bangers just like this one. And until next time, peace.